Welcome back, everybody. This is my 50-second update video where I go back to 10 past product reviews from about a year ago and let you know if I continue to use any of those products after my review is done. The products featured in this video are numbers 511 through 520, spanning August through September of 2023. So without further delay, let's get right to update number 52. Number 511 was a portable washing machine that was going around a lot online last year. I had to try this one out, and here's how my test went. So this is advertised as a 6.5 liter washing machine. I paid 60 bucks for this. The claims are that it's good for small items such as socks, underwear, baby clothes, not meant for larger clothing items. Easy to store as it folds down to 5 inches when not in use, up to 11 when unfolded. First up, the stained shirt. That should be fun. Next up, the dirty sock. And finally, the handprint cloth. So that's how much it holds in there. Not too bad. Doesn't look like it holds much more than that. Now, there really isn't a fill line, but I went up to about right here. We do have a handle for easy carrying. Looks like it goes for a few seconds, stops, and then repeats. One observation is that the suction cups are holding pretty well, so that's good. All right, I'm gonna cover this up and let it go the rest of the 10 minutes. All right, the 10-minute cycle just ended. There was no notification, it just kind of stopped. That water does look kind of cloudy. All right, another 10 minutes with just regular water, no soap. All right, we are done. Now I'm placing the spin basket back in there, and I've removed the plug here for the drain, so hopefully any excess water will come out in the sink. Oh, look at that shaking. Look at it shaking around. Whoa. I can't even tell if any water's coming out, but look at the way it's shaking around. I guess I'll just cover it up. It's chaos in here. It's chaos. Look at this. You know, forget it. I'm not even seeing any water come out there anyways. I don't think the spin cycle's doing much. So let's take these out of here and take a quick peek. The washcloth looks pretty good. The sock looks pretty nice, actually. Now for the shirt. All right, so I'm looking at the shirt here, and the shirt really doesn't look too bad. Now, I did think that this one worked, but I already have a full-size washing machine here, so I didn't really have much use for it. It's not really something I expected to use, so I donated it, and hopefully someone out there is finding a good use for it. Number 512 was this countertop ice maker from Frigidaire. It's a popular model on Amazon. I had a lot of requests for it, and here's how my test went. All right, now I've got the water in there right to the max fill line. Replace the ice basket. Close the cover. I'm going to press the on-off button, and I'm going to leave it on large cubes. Oh, we have basically like a little waterfall going on. That's kind of nice. Oh yeah. We have the first batch. Just over 8 minutes. There it goes. There we go. Oh, they're dropping. They dropped. They dropped. It's pretty cool, actually. Now it's just going to shove them into the basket. All right, there we go. Moving the basket. Seems like a pretty good amount. This is how much we got in an hour and a half. So right about 1 pound of ice in an hour and a half. Putting my cubes in a Ziploc bag. I'm gonna put it in the freezer and just keep going. So I did 6 batches in about 7 hours, and I got about 6 pounds of ice out of that, which seems pretty good to me. It's very simple to use, and it's pretty consistent, and it makes a pretty good amount of ice. Now this is one I used almost every day for about 6 months. So it's had probably almost a couple hundred uses. Now one thing about this one is you do have to keep it clean regularly. If you don't do that, it's not that great. I've done a pretty good job of keeping it clean, but it has held up well. Some people on Amazon were saying theirs broke or didn't last that long. Mine's lasted. This one has held up. It's been used for, daily for 6 straight months. The only reason I have stopped using it is because I got other ice makers I'm testing long term as well, so it's kind of been kicked to the back of the line. But once I finish with those tests, I'll probably continue to use it because it does work quite well. So as long as you don't mind cleaning it regularly, this one does hold up over time. Number 513 was a paper towel dispenser. This was kind of an expensive model that automatically dispensed paper towels. Let's look back at how my original review went. This is the Innovia touchless paper towel dispenser. I paid $119.99 for this. They say it's easy to load. Worse with most paper towel brands, it takes either 4D batteries or the included adapter. I'm gonna start with a cheap roll of paper towels. These are just generic, cheap, low-end paper towels. There's a little latch right there. I've got the roll in there. Now let's close it up. Wow, that was bad. All right, so let's try this again. I'll put it in there with it going the opposite direction. So what we're supposed to do is close it, and then it should retract it. And does it retract? Now what you're supposed to do to dispense it is wave your hand over the magic motion sensor over here. Now it has a lot. You're supposed to tear off how much you want. I have one sheet, and it should retract it again, and it did. So now what it's supposed to do is remember how much you tore off and just dispense that the next time. One sheet. It didn't like that. Maybe it doesn't like cheap paper towels. This is more of the clothy type paper towel, so this might be better. We'll see. Close it up. It should retract. It did. It didn't sound very good. Oh, come on. Not to despair, we've got more paper towels to try. I've got a Bounty paper towel here. This one should work. All right, here we go. Will it even fit? It does fit. I'm gonna pull out some of the slack here. It should retract it. Okay, well, it did seem to retract it that time, so I have high hopes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna tear two off. Retract it again. Okay, we're off on a roll here now. Now it should dispense two of them because I tore two of them off. So here we go. Success. That's right, I finally got success with this thing. So even though it really wasn't that great, I continued to use it. I kind of realized that if I left it on its side, it kind of worked better. It wasn't 100%, but it worked better like that. But what's funny is after I moved out of the apartment, that paper towel dispenser disappeared and I haven't seen it since. Number 514 was the classic As Seen on TV Citrus Express. I love testing out these vintage As Seen on TV products, and here's how my test went. The Citrus Express. Now what it supposedly allows you to do is either cut your citrus into cubes or also work as a juicer. The claims that it can be used as a stainless steel half blade knife, can be used as a citrus cutter or juicer, includes a serving bowl with pouring spouts, includes an easy to use citrus corer, skid proof rubber base made of ultra strong plastic and dishwasher safe. Using the corer now. That's a pretty good core. This part does feel kind of treacherous though, because you're pushing it pretty hard and there's like these kind of sharp pieces of plastic underneath. Mold it to it. I don't even know if that's helping. Here we go, one full turn. That's about a half. That's about a full. Let's see what we got. The orange looks like it's mostly cleaned out there. We have results. Wow, that thing is very effective. I'm kind of impressed by this core. See, it did it clean as a whistle. Look at that. I'll do both of them at the same time here. The cup on the counter, the blade on top of that. Lining up the blade with the cutter itself. Pressing the grapefruit onto the unit. Now they say mold it on there. I'm not sure what that does, but it does seem to be part of the instructions. Place the top on here and twist one full turn. I hear it dropping in there. I think that was one full turn. Let's see. Grapefruit cleaned out. We have grapefruit chunks in there. So I think they did a pretty good job of cutting these into chunks. You could use that for fruit cocktail, fruit salad. I'm a fan of this. Now this is one of those things I didn't really continue to use. Actually, I think I used it a couple of times, but it eventually found its way back into the boneyard. Even though I didn't continue to use it, it was fun to try out. Number 515 was a rather expensive Icee Maker. This one was going around online and I had to see how it worked for myself, and here's what happened. The first thing I noticed is that it's 130 bucks, but it's kind of just cheap plastic. It feels like maybe a $30 a cheap blender almost. In fact, the reviews are pretty bad for this one too. So both the unit and the syrup are pretty mixed reviews. There's quite a few people that don't like either one of them. I didn't realize how loud that machine was. It sounds worse every time I add something to it. Step number 1 is to plug it in. Step number 2 is to set it to the mix function. Number 3 is to ensure that the tap is in the closed position. Step number 4 is to add ice cubes to the unit, only filling it up halfway. Step number 5, you're going to add 2 capfuls of salt. Step number 6 is to add 1.4 fluid ounces of water. For number 7, you're going to fill it up the rest of the way with ice. And then number 8, you're going to add 3 more capfuls of salt. And number 9 is another 1.4 fluid ounces of water. Number 10, add the cap, and then number 11, you add the syrup, which is going to go slow because it'll overflow. Number 12, you're going to let it sit for 15 to 25 minutes while it makes the icee. Number 13 is the most difficult of all the steps. That's where when the ice drops down to a lower level, you have to add more ice, water, and salt, and you have to kind of maintain it the entire time. And finally, step number 14 is to switch it over to the dispense mode and dispense your icee. Let me taste this. That doesn't taste very good. Final result looks pretty good. It's like an Icee. The texture is perfect. The taste is not. In my opinion, it's too much work and too much cost to make this worth the effort. So this one ended up on my worst of 2023 list. It was a complete disaster. I had no intention of using this one after my review was over. Eventually, a family friend saw it and said they just wanted to try it out for themselves, so I gave it away and I haven't seen it since. I still see it being sold on Amazon, and pretty much every listing for it has bad reviews. Go figure, right? Number 516 was the Zippi Sweeper, which is a triangular floor cleaner that's still advertising online. I had a lot of requests for it, and here's what happened next. I mean, it doesn't feel real smooth on the floor. There aren't actually wheels on it. You just have these kind of rubbing up against the floor. I mean, it's not picking it up on the first pass. In fact, it's knocking it around everywhere. How about up against the wall? And I still left some there too. It made the area of cleanup even larger. There's crumbs in a bigger area than it started off with because it knocks them around. It cleaned up a lot of it, but it actually kind of made a bigger mess. It does not sound good on the carpet though. Somewhat in the brushes though. That's gonna have to be cleaned out, so maybe that's not so great, I don't know. It's even around this little brush right here. Maybe this pet hair is not good for it. It's all wrapped around everything. Look at this, it's everywhere. Oh, look at this. All this stuff just came out. It's just kind of pushing it. It's kind of pushing it. This is not great. It's not great. But it's still kicking it. It's still kicking it. It doesn't seem to matter what I do. It's still gonna do that. Oh, come on, look at that. No, that's not good. It's a bigger mess area than it was when I started. No matter what job I did, it eventually worked, but it was a lot more work than it should have been. In fact, I pulled out a regular broom and it seemed a lot faster than the Zippi Sweeper. All right, so if you saw my worst of 2023 last year, you know the Zippi Sweeper ended up the bottom of the list. It was my worst product of the year, so I obviously did not continue to use this one. It's still advertising online, and to me, it's still a terrible product. Number 517 was an easy release ice cube tray. I had some requests for this one at the time, and here's how my test went. It's a double decker. You got 2 layers here. It has a built-in container, and you have a top that helps push the ice out into the receptacle below. All you have to do is fill it with water, put it in the freezer, turn the ice cube trays over, and press to release. All right, I think I've got them pretty well filled here, so let's stack them up and put them in the freezer and see what happens. We got these stacked up. It's been 24 hours. Let's put them out of the freezer and see what happens. So let's take one of these trays here, nicely frozen, put it on here face down. Oh wow, we're getting some falling out already. Then we take the top here, and these are going to push down on the silicone base and push the rest out. Let's see. Oh yeah. That was definitely oddly satisfying for that one. The cubes are not bad. They're kind of small. They're not bad looking though. In fact, what's weird is they're not even completely square. And hiya! And we have kind of a decent amount of ice. Hiya! This one I think actually lives up to the advertising hype. It produces a good amount of ice. It's easy to use. The release system seems to work pretty well. So as far as I'm concerned, this particular ice cube tray actually works. Now, whereas number 516 was my worst product of the year, number 517 was my best product of the year, and I'm still using it to this day. I probably use this one every 1 to 2 days ever since then. So it's got hundreds of uses. And here it is right here. I just pulled out of the freezer. I was worried that these were going to puncture this kind of silicone backing. Hasn't happened. There's been no damage to it whatsoever, so it's held up as far as that goes. Let's do a quick release here. And I'm not really easy on it. I actually put all my weight on it. In the last year, I've got a pretty good feel for how to press it so that all the ice comes out, which did this time. I usually give it a little twist. All of them are released. And there we go. Now, one slight observation about this. Now, I haven't really put it in the dishwasher, but I have washed it by hand with warm soapy water, and it did warp just a tiny bit. You probably can't see it, but the sides are kind of pressed in just a little bit. The only time that becomes a problem was when I got this full of water and I have to kind of put it in there. See, it doesn't go on there. What I have to do is use one hand and pull this out. And then it goes in there. It's a mild annoyance, but not that bad. I'm pretty happy with the fact that these haven't really caused any damage back here, which I thought might happen. So in the end, when you consider the price and how much I've used it, I still think it's a great product. Number 518 was a portable dryer. Since I had recently done a portable washer, I felt like that would be something to pair with it. I put it through the ringer, and here's how that went. All right, let's take a look at this multi-function clothes dryer. I paid about 50 bucks for this. The claims are that it's a mini clothes dryer for travel, cruising, RVs. Comes with 2 drying bags, 4 clothespins, and a shoe drying attachment. All right, a damp black sock laying on the table. Another thick, damp black sock. We're gonna hang it up. So the heat is definitely real. Look at this. That's over 100 degrees. Doing something. Let's see how they look after 30 minutes. I'd say it's about half dry at the top, and it's still pretty damp on the bottom. How about this one? Oh, this one feels almost completely dry. From the 2 thin ones, the one from the dryer is dry and the one from the table is not. Definitely an improvement there. All right, the alarm just went off. Let's check it out. You can't really see the moisture in this one, but it's still kind of damp at the toe and up to the top where it's almost completely dry. All right, let's try out the shoe drying feature now. That's what we got right here. All right, so this is kind of what they're showing. Let me turn this on and see what kind of air we got out of here. Power button. Go green. I think green is the 3 hours. I'm going to go with that one. Yeah, I do feel a little bit of warm air coming out. Not much of a breeze, but a little bit. I mean, those hoses are warm, so I mean, they're doing something. Now these hoses aren't very long. You don't have a lot of room, so you're going to have this unit right on top of your shoes almost. All right, at the 2 hour and 50 minute mark, the 3 hour timer went off, so not exactly 3 hours. But let's see what we got here. Just feeling them with my hands, these feel pretty dry. Up here, definitely very dry. There's a tiny bit of moisture on the toes, but overall I'd say it's pretty dry. That is a damp paper towel on one of the shoes that I was using for control. I'll try this one here. Look, nothing. I would say it's almost completely dry. So you can see that there's still quite a bit of moisture on that shoe. None on that one. Now, as with the washer, I have a full-size washer and dryer already, so I didn't have much of a use for this one either. I intended to take it on vacation with me, but I haven't traveled since then. Fortunately, someone recently just asked me if they could have it because they don't have a dryer at all. So I gave it away to them in hopes that someone could find a use for it. Number 519 was the Ninja Thirsti. There it is. This one I had a lot of requests for. People still are asking about this one, so let's take a look back at how my original test went. I put the Energy Peach Mango and the Splash Tart Lemon here. You can go from no fizz to 3 levels of fizz, so 4 total. Then you select your size, 6, 12, 18, or 24 ounces. Right here you can adjust the strength of either one of these. You can go 0, 1, or 2. For either one, you can mix and match however you want. Choosing a fizz level, I think I'm gonna go on the low end of fizz here. We're going 6 ounces. Flavor strength, we're going regular on just the peach mango and... Oh, here we go, here we go. Well, we got it started off with just water, now we got flavor coming in here. It looks pretty nondescript, let's give it a shot. There we go. Oh, it tastes pretty good. The amount of fizz isn't really that bad. I can't imagine going a lot fizzier than that. First it starts with just water and then it seems to kick over to the flavor. Very fizzy. Pull it back, snap it in place, close it up. It seems very simple. I thought it was gonna be more elaborate than it is. It really isn't. The flavors are easy to put in there and take out whenever you need to, and they do close back up for easy storage. It is very simple to use, and the drinks are all quite good. Everything I tried, I liked. Those who don't mind the price, I think will find a solid offering with effective results. All right, so it's kind of interesting with this one. Like, I used it almost every day for 4 or 5 months, but at some point since then, I kind of stopped using it so much. I only use it every week or 2 now. I still have refills. I even have CO2 canisters, so I'm kind of set for a while. I really don't have any complaints about it, and everything that in my original review, kind of still holds up. I haven't had any real problems with it, so to me, it's just one of those things that I use on occasion, but not as much as I originally did when I first tried it out. Number 520 was the Dash Mini Toaster Oven, which is the smallest toaster oven I've ever seen. I put it to the test, and here's how that went. All right, here it is. And the claims that it's a mini toaster oven for bagels, toast, pizza, or even cookies. Now you can use the tray or the rack. We've got both here. It does hold just about 1 piece of bread. Close it up. We're gonna go medium to start off. There's a rather loud ticking sound. And it is heating up in there. Because it's kind of one of those twist timers, you're not really sure if you're exactly on 3 minutes or not, so it's kind of small, so I think I was around 3 minutes, so we shall see. I mean, it looks like it's pretty well toasted in there already. I'm not sure how much time's left. It's gotta be almost done. I mean, where it's at now looks pretty good to me. Maybe I should just stop it, because that looks pretty good. There's a little bit of smoke coming out of here. That rack looks quite warm. Look at this first piece from the rack. The top is very even, happy with that. Now there's obviously gonna be rack marks on the bottom, which is understandable. I'm gonna try one now with the tray itself. I'm gonna go in on the tray this time, close it up. Here we go, 3-ish minutes, but I'm gonna stop after 1.5 minutes and flip it. We shall see. All right, we're at 1.5 minutes, let's flip it. Oh, look at that, that bottom is not done at all. We're at 3 minutes. Actually, it's pretty good on the tray too, to be honest, even though I had to flip it. I don't like that though. That's from when I had to use the tongs to flip it. But otherwise, look how beautifully even that is. On the other hand, this one, if you don't mind the wire marks, didn't have to be flipped. So I think both did pretty well, to be honest. Now, all of this one did fare pretty well in my test. It didn't really replace my chosen toaster oven, which is the Ninja Foodie oven, which I still use several years after the fact. So as far as this oven goes, I didn't continue to use it, but I did give it away. Well, that's it as far as this update goes. I would say of the ones I used the most, it would certainly be the easy release ice cube tray, which I've used almost every day since then. And the worst of the bunch, as with back then, would still be the Zippi Sweeper. But that's all I've got. I'll be back in about another month for my next update video. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.